another remarkable session to make your evening more enlightening. I, Pareen, on behalf of the entire team of Enagery, would like to invite everyone to our Sunday's webinar session, where we interact with eminent personalities and inspirational speakers from the field of education. The topic today that we are going to discuss is on education, relevance of culture, role of folklore in the society. So here I request everyone to be with us for the entire session. Before I introduce everyone with the speaker, I would like to put lights on what Enagery is all about with the new viewers. So what is Enagery? Enagery is a non-profit platform which aims to promote various initiatives that attempts to bring changes, social changes, sharpen leadership skills, and build entrepreneurial capabilities in Assam as well as in the entire Northeast. Today, we are highly privileged to have with us Dr. Bitasta Das, who is the Senior Editorial Assistant at the Office of Communications and guest instructor from the Department of Humanities at the undergraduate program at the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. She teaches papers on Indian folk arts, research methodologies, and people and nature. In total, she has published 6 books. Her research and writing interest covers topics on Northeast India, folk arts, and interdisciplinary studies. Her doctoral research was on unraveling ethnic tensions, colonialism, post-colonialism, and the question of identity in Assam. She was awarded her PhD at Manipal Academy of Higher Education, Manipal and Karnataka in 2014. She had been an awardee of the Archival Research Fellowship Papia Ghosh Memorial Trust. She had also been a gold medalist because of her remarkable first position in the Masters of Art Cultural Studies program in 2003. She has qualified her national eligibility test in folk literature in 2002. She has made immense publications and has been invited by several national and international institutions. We are indeed very grateful to have with us such an eminent persona with us today. Ma'am, hereby I request you to please proceed and take over the session.
Thank you so much. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you so much, and thank you, Team Enagery, for having me and for inviting me for this lecture, which is a very favorite topic of mine to talk about folklore and its relevance in the society and in education in general. So to give you a little background, I would like to share, okay, you'll have to give me the permission for sharing the PPT. I don't have it says disable participant screening.
Okay, Samantha, will you?
Yeah, now I can. Yeah. I'm able to do now. One moment. Okay. I hope you can see the screen.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So this is the topic of the discussion today: educational relevance of culture, folklore, and its role in the society. So I'd like to start with the basic. What is folklore? For the audience here, some of you might be, familiar with the term, but some of you might not be. So folklore consists of knowledge, legends, music, oral history, proverb, jokes, popular belief, fairy tales, stories, tall tales, and customs, including in tradition of a culture, subculture, or a group. So it's the entire knowledge that a group possesses is called folklore, and knowledge about the group is also called folklore. Okay, so folklore is the knowledge of the community and about the community both. It also includes a set of practices through which these expressive genres are shared. So characterization of folk category. So what is the folk? What is the specialty of folk? How is it different from other categories? As against probably classical. What is it? What defines folk as a category? So these are some of the features. Common people are the mainstay of folklore. Folklore may accompany the celebration of various religious, social, and family festivals. fertility cult, human and land, as well as problems of natural disaster like flood, famine, and fire, disease, and accidents, directly or indirectly provide a theme of folklore. So it is about the mundane matters, okay, the day-to-day matters of human society. Textual source or authorship is not important. So the entire community owns this knowledge. Okay, so a person, individual is not important here. Okay, like a folk song. Let's take an example from our own, culture, a bihu song. Nobody knows who wrote those songs, but we have been, singing these songs from time immemorial. So this is the characteristics of folklore, that there is no one author to it. Okay, the community owns it, mostly orally transmitted, that is passed on from generations to generations by orally. There is no formal training to learn them. Folklore are often a mixture of genres: music, dance, song, drama. The division of music, dance, or drama is made based on the emphasis of the form. So let me give an example. Like the something like the Kathakali. Okay, Kathakali would have a lot of music. It will have dance. It will have storytelling. It'll there's a lot of costumes involved, but we call it a dance because the dance form is more prominent in the entire presentation. Okay, so same way, like you can take another example. Maybe a Nautanki from Uttar Pradesh, which has a lot of singing, lot of music, but because it is the storytelling is more important, the performative part is more important, so we call it theater. Okay, so there is no clear cut, there's no straight jacketed division between the genres. The purpose of folklore can be summed up as threefold: social transaction, ritualistic performance, and entertainment. So why is folklore there in the society? The purpose of folklore is social transaction. You're actually conveying something in the society while performing this practices. Ritualistic performance, we do something as rituals, and entertainment. Yeah, music, dance are part of entertainment also. So what is folk? So earlier, folk was associated with something that is not, sophisticated enough. Okay, something that is in between savage and the civilized. Okay, the middle range was called folk. Okay, so it is to be so that was the former belief that folk is something that is associated. It was in comparison. Okay, it was as compared to what. Okay, but as time progressed, the definition changed because scholars started doing more work, and now what is believed, what is considered right, is that folk can be people, any group of people who share something in common. Okay, so that way, probably a group of students can be a folk category as well, because they have some jokes, some uh, something that they share between them, that only they can understand, and that is their shared knowledge. Okay, so a group of students can also be called a folk group. Any group that expresses its inner cohesion by maintaining shared tradition qualify as folk, whether the linking factor is occupation, language, place of residence, age, religion, or ethnic origin. Okay, so any group that shares something in common between them, and they call that, they own that, that something that they own, they share commonly, is called, can be called a folk group. So what are the different elements of folklore? So folklore can be, again, these divisions are Western division. In Indian context, there's hardly, you can hardly make out material culture from a social folk custom. I'll explain more, but just to begin with, this divisions are not watertight, and they have come from the Western, context. But in Indian context, we find there is a lot of free flowing, that is a lot of interaction between them. So one, category can be oral literature, spoken, sung, or voice form of tradition utterance. So riddle, jokes, puzzles, all this, slogans. Sometimes when we say those can also, they are orally passed on from one generation to another. So they can be called, they fall under oral literature. Material culture, tangible elements, techniques, skills, recipes, and formulas. So anything that is tangible, that can be touched, falls under this category. Okay, the folk costumes will fall under this category. Social folk customs. Here the emphasis is on group interaction rather than on individual skills and performances. So customs that there are ceremonies where you do some custom, those also fall under, and they are specific to certain group. Okay, it's not common to all, but that particular group would be doing this kind of performance, this kind of custom. So this is particular to that group. So it's social folk customs are also fall under folklore. Performing folk art, the conscious presentation of art with folk instrument, dance, costume, and scenario prop. That is performing folk art. So why I said that there in Indian context, this is not watertight is because again there is a lot of free flowing. Okay, so certain kind of costume, that you wear. If I can give you an example of, maybe something that everyone understands is. Probably the dress that men wear during bhangra dance. Okay, so they'll wear that kind of costume only for certain occasion. Okay, so that is a that falls in a material culture as well as a custom, that you're wearing this in a custom and you're performing something. So you're performing a dance. So all these have lot of free flow between them. They have a lot of interaction between them. Okay, so in Indian content we
Ma'am,
can't call
so
it.
the both of them are just interacting also.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
ma'am.
shall I take the questions later? I have a bit of presentation. I will stop, then we can take the
Yes, ma'am.
questions.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah. So what makes folklore unique? What is so unique about folklore? If I can, again, these are not exhaustive, but I have put down some points that, uh, because of which folklore is unique. Okay. Folklore encompasses one's culture in a deeper manner. In folklore, context is important. So why folklore is important is that we are not looking at a song because of the song, the music part of it, but it is telling us something more. It is giving us a window to understand the culture of that community in general. Okay, so it is we are not looking at the song itself, but we are looking at something more than that. Okay, so it has a context which is more important than the actual element. Folklore is largely utilitarian. If I can give you an example, the Madhubani painting that is very popular nowadays. Madhubani painting is very utility based because it was, initially, traditionally, it used to be done during certain occasions. Okay, it was to be done in festive occasion, auspicious occasions. So it has a utility. Okay, and okay, so let's also say what is folk art and folk craft. Folk art and craft don't have much difference between them, but if the utility factor is more in an object, and if we call it craft, and if the aesthetic factor is more in an object, we call it art. So in general, there is no difference between a art and a craft in folk in the context of folk. The folklore is weaved into everyday. As I said, the context is very, it is very mundane. You're talking about, day to day life. You're not talking about, something very big. You can talk about famine, the famine, how it has, affected the population, the community. There can be, elements of that, but you're generally talking about your day to day life. Okay. You're talking about seasons and all that. Folklore connects the past to the present. So there is a connection from the past to the present in folklore. Okay. Yeah, because they have been traditionally passed down from generations. So they are actually connecting the past to the present. Folklore reflects the worldview of a community. As I said, that we are looking at elements of folklore not because of the superficial aspect, but it tells us more. You'll come to know in a bit. Okay, function of folklore. I will discuss this point by point. So let's go straight away. After that, after I finish this section, we can take some questions. So I'm saying that that folklore performs some functions in the society. What are the functions that they perform? They serve as the educational tool. So this is a doha from Kabir's Dohe, which is part of the Central India's folk knowledge. So this is kal kare jo so aaj kari so ab pal mein pralay hoegi bahuri karegi tab. So it is actually telling you the importance of time. Okay, it is actually giving you a knowledge that time is important, and if you don't respect time, you'll not succeed in life. Okay, so it is actually educational. It is telling you, giving you certain instruction. It is giving you certain knowledge about how you should be going about in life. So one feature of folklore is educationally. So it also gives essential life knowledge. This is an example from Panchatantra. It's a story where man and a woman, the man, he's a Brahmin actually. He brings home a mongoose, and the wife is not happy that he has brought home a mongoose. But the man says that he is my friend and he will be living with us. So they have a small baby in the house, and one fine day, what happens is that a snake comes to attack the baby, and the mongoose actually kills the snake, and the wife of the Brahmin sees a lot of blood in the floor, and she says that the mongoose has actually harmed the baby, and so people come and they kill the mongoose, but actually the mongoose had saved the baby from the snake, and they come to know it later. So this is a story from Panchatantra. So what is it doing? It is giving us certain life knowledge that you should not be taking decisions in a haste. Okay, give enough time to understand the matter. So what is folklore doing? It is actually giving us some life knowledge, how to go about life. Value of a culture. This is a photo from, I'm just giving you some examples so it's clear for you, but you can, extrapolate this to understand other things also. So this is a tattoo from the Goan community of Central India. They put tattoos of the natural elements around them, trees, animals, flowers they put. So what is it doing? This is telling us about the importance of nature in their culture. Okay, how much important they give to nature. So they think, the community think that they are the children of nature. They have come, their nature is their ancestor. So the practice of putting, inscribing tattoos in the body is doing that, is saying that how much importance they give to nature in their day-to-day life. So it reflects the value of the culture. So the practice of tattoo making is a folk tradition. So I'm giving an example from Assam's culture. This is the gamusa, and what we are doing is, it is actually doing a political and social order. So when the act of giving a gamusa is doing more than the act, it is actually showing that the person whom it is gifted to is important. The person who we respect, that person, we welcome that person, we are showing reverence to that person. So it is actually uh, instilling or maintaining the political and social order of the society. Okay, so I would not give a gamusa to certain people whom I don't consider as respectable. Okay, so the act of giving gamusa is actually, instilling that kind of order, that this maybe it's an elder of the family. The elder of the family is supposed to be respected. Okay, so it is instilling that kind of a order. Explain the inexplicable. This is Wali art. It is the tree of life. So in sometimes we can't explain why certain things happen. We can't explain how life came into being. So we say that, we make stories. We say that life originated from this big tree, and every life has originated from this big tree, and and the tree sustains everyone. Okay, this also tells us about the value of the value that the people community give to nature. Okay, so here we are trying to explain something. We are trying to explain the inexplicable. We don't have a direct answer how life came into being, but by telling that it has come, from this tree, we are trying giving some kind of answer to the question that is not directly answerable. So emotion of the society. This is the Nongkrem festival of Meghalaya. What are the dancers doing? That this act of dancing with small steps. They are actually showing that they are tilling the soil, and it's a Thanksgiving festival. Okay, the emotions. How will they show the gratitude to the land? How will they show the gratitude to the the agricultural field? They're showing it through this festival, that we are showing you the land which is giving us food. We are showing you respect, and we respect you, and you're important to us, and this is how they celebrate it and demonstrate it. Entertainment. This is an example from Bhan Patel from Jammu and Kashmir. This is the act of this is Bhan, who would dress up, it's not very stylized costume, but he would, it's mostly a man. He would dress up little differently, and he would be talking about certain things in a very comical way, and he'll make the person, all the audience laugh. Mostly this is used to subvert the political order or subvert. It's anti-establishment basically, and they are making a mockery of it. You can't confront the highest authority in any other way, but in this way it is acceptable that it's a traditional custom that you would talk about the authorities in a comical way, and it is acceptable that because traditions are this way, that this is a folk tradition and people generally accept it. And you, when you can't take out a frustration or you can't vent out in any other way, you make a mockery out of it in this way. So in there are other examples also here where like we have stories from our own culture in Panchatantra also. There's a lot of examples where a Brahmin is showed to be a fool, because the entire Brahminical system was very strict and very hierarchical. You can't be directly confronting the Brahmin, but you make fool out of them in your stories. Okay, you say that how the Brahmin was fool and how he was greedy, and you make a mockery out of it. So it is actually entertainment, and you're also venting out certain kind of stress out of it. Okay, so I'll stop here and I'll take some questions from here.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the explanations. Ma'am, I had prepared certain questions.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, my first question is, ma'am, can you give examples from your own work, like on the ways in which it contributed to remove the gap in education, in our education system?
Okay, yeah, I have. So certain things that I wanted to talk about is, yeah, maybe we can, I can tell now is that our education system, we don't have this practice of making the disciplines talk. And what happens is that in this rapidly globalizing world, it has already globalized, there are new problems. So if you take the example of food crisis, you will see that it has a connection with large scale immigration, governance failure, natural disaster, not natural, I mean man-made disasters more, uh, climate change. So this kind of things are interrelated. And what we do is we don't see the whole picture. So why it is required is that why interaction between different disciplines is required is to get the holistic picture, because then otherwise our students, our the future generation will not be equipped to understand the problems in a holistic way. So that's why I have been impressing that we should have make disciplines talk to each other. We should make sense. Every discipline should make sense of other disciplines. Okay, so that has been my entire endeavor in even in my work where I teach at Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and I teach this course. Yeah, as you had mentioned, I teach 3 papers, but this is this bigger course on folk art, mapping India with the folk art. And what I try to do at the end of the course is make these are science students that I'm teaching. Okay, and humanities they take up as a as a subject, but they are science students and they take major in this 6 disciplines: physics, chemistry, maths, biology, and earth science and material science. So these are students that I'm teaching, and what I try to make them do at the end of this course is uh, have a dialogue with the different disciplines. Okay, so I try to make them do things, talk about science with using Indian folk art. Okay, so I want to show you some example what I have been doing so far. Okay, I'll share the screen again. Okay. So at Indian Institute of Science, what I have been doing with my course is this. So we have brought out 2 books so far: Arting Science and Jal Jangal Zameen, and Jal Jangal Zameen in the Age of Science and Technology. So these are 2 books that we have taken out. So in Arting Science, what we have done is talk about scientific concepts through Indian folk art. And in Jal Jangal Zameen, I wanted to go a step forward and talk about the environmental issues, talk about the tribal issues of the country using Indian folk art, and what science and technology has done with the tribal issues in one hand and the nature at another hand. Has it been beneficial to the environment? Has science been beneficial to the environment, or has science been destructive towards the environment? So these are some issues that I picked up, and I wanted the students to think over it and present it in form of artwork. I'll give you some examples. So this was the first book. I'm showing you some pictures from this first book, Art in Science. So the first one is, this one is the Mendel's law, second law of inheritance, and they're showing it in the Madhubani style painting. There are these two alleles, and in one generation, there is one dominant allele. In the next generation, the alleles would, get divided into three and one. So this is the second law of inheritance of Mendel's law. We have all studied Mendel's law in our school in the ninth standard. So I think most of you will understand, even if you're not from science background. So this is what they showed, and this is a very, a typical Madhubani painting they have done, where fish motive is very important, and inside water, lotus, snakes. They have shown tortoise with this motif and a boundary border. These are very typical of Madhubani painting, and they have shown the Mendel's law. In the next one, they have shown accretion. Accretion is a concept in physics where a big mass is supposed to be attracting the smaller things from the smaller mass. Here they are showing how people are being attracted from village to the city, and yeah, so that's what they have shown in Worli style painting. This longish one is Sherial painting from Telangana. So here, Sherial painting was the painting where, in the olden times when the kings used to go for wars, they used to take artists along with them, and the artists would actually, sit down and paint the war scenes. So that was the practice, and that tradition is called Sherial painting. And here my students have shown the phagocytosis, how it's very relevant in today's time, where you see, combat between the antigen and antibody. And finally, the antigen had come to attack the body, and the antibodies have, fought with them, and they kill the antigen. So how this is how phagocytosis work in our body, how our resistance work in our body. So this one is, church style painting. Here they're showing metamorphosis. Here, how a caterpillar has developed into a butterfly. Here it is also philosophical, how they, these vices, the, anger, pride, and how you become a better person by, diligence, patience, kindness. So here they're showing metamorphosis in church art. So here is the relevance of zero in Germany Roy style Kalikar painting. Here the zero was discovered in India, and how the Arab traders popularized it in the world. And so here the zero has been shown. So this is how students have shown. The assignment that I had given them was that you have to depict a science concept through Indian folk art. So these are some of the examples that students have done. And I have compiled these paintings into a book, Art in Science. So the next book was this. So next book, the idea was to talk about the natural, environment, and talk about the tribal issues through folk art, and putting it vis-a-vis science. What has science done for the nature, or what has science done for the tribals? Tribal life, as you know, Jal Jangal Zameen is very important for the tribal life. What has science done for them? That was the question I had posed. So many of you will recognize this. This is an Assam manuscript painting style, where they have shown that science has been destructive. It has with all this nuclear explosions and all, they have actually destructed nature. Here, okay, three strand of thinking I saw develop among the painting that were submitted to me. One set of students felt that science has been very destructive, and it has done nothing good for the nature or for tribal life. So I had called them conflict. The second group of students felt that there has been confluence. Science and technology has nicely merged with the tribal issues, and there has been a nice confluence of both. So here it's an example of the confluence, how by using scientific thinking and technology, you have developed a elephant corridor, and how the wildlife has been able to move freely using this wildlife, elephant corridor. So this is confluence. Next two examples I'm giving from the creation. Another set of students thought that science has been very beneficial, and science, because of science, very novel and very fresh ideas have developed, which has been very, very benefiting for the tribal life and also for the nature. So here a scientist is shown to have, changed the DNA of the tree, and they have made a drought resistant plant. Okay. in drought also, how a plant can flourish. Here, science has made it possible. So this is, okay, so first is the Assam style manuscript painting. This is the Goan painting style. And third, this one they have shown in miniature painting style of Rajasthan. Miniature painting, as some of you might know, shows landscape. Okay, trees are very important in miniature painting. So here they have showed that in that style they have showed this concept. Here is the again wheel art, and they are showing coral reef restoration. How the scientists have been able to restore the coral reef under the sea. This is how they have showed in this wheel art. So there's this three, strand of thinking from the students from my class. One thought process that felt that there's always conflict. One thought process, expressed that there is confluence, and another, the third section of students believe that there has been creation. Okay. So we have also, okay, every year I try and take one new art form, and we discuss the entire country using that art form. In this 2 years, we have discussed paintings, folk paintings, and this year, the other year, I have taken folk theater, how we see the, uniqueness of the theater, folk theater in entire country, and how they have certain continuity and they have certain differences also. And this was a public performance that my students had done. Here they're showing Darwin's theory through shadow puppetry. Here in Chaw style of West Bengal, they are showing the tribal issues, how the big MNCs would actually disturb the tribal life, and the ownership of the tribals from the land is lost. Here they're showing gender issues through Ras Leela. Here they're showing this is the Ramayana they're showing, and they're showing the how science and technology could have intervened there. So this is another Nautanki style they have shown. This is Swag style they have shown the how a scientist can change the superstition, the evils that are prevailing in the society. And this is the anthropocentric view that people hold. They're trying to show it by Nautanki style. So these are some of the things that my student has shown. Then another year I had taken folk dance. With folk dance, as I told you, my students have take major in 6 disciplines. I told them to pick up one groundbreaking research in this discipline and express it by folk dance of India, any folk dance of India. So these are what my students have done. The first one is Dolokunita of Karnataka, and they had shown the Haber's process. This was the chemistry group. This is the the maths group, and with the Rajasthani dance, they have shown the 4-color theorem. This is the chemistry group, and they have shown the surface tension through Kuttu. Kuttu is the dance of Tamil Nadu. This is a dance from Kerala, and they have the physics group is showing the gravitational waves. This is Lavani of Maharashtra, and they are showing CRISPR. This is the biology group. This was the gravitational wave group was the physics group, and this Lavani group was the biology group, and they're showing CRISPR, how changing the gene, you can change the character of the individual. This is plastic eating worms, and they're showing it in the Portuguese style of Pondicherry. Sorry, Daman and Diu. I will tell you the name. Vida, the Vida dance. With the Vida dance, they have shown the plastic eating worms here. And this was the earth science group. So also in one group, we had taken folk music, and I had asked the students to compose, sing, and record a song which talks about the environment, which talks about scientific process around them using a folk song. So this is a Malayalam song, boat song of Malayalam boatmen, and they are talking about the water cycle in the atmosphere. So I'll play a bit of it. So mind you, the students are not trained in music, but they have done this recording just using a wooden table and a wooden scale. That's all music they have used, and they have sung the song and they have recorded it.
It's wonderful, ma'am.
Can you hear the song?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'll stop here and we can take questions. Maybe.
Ma'am, that was absolutely wonderful to hear.
Thank you. Yeah.
So my third question, there we can take questions from the viewers maybe now.
Sure, sure.
I request the viewers to please put forward the question in front of ma'am if they are having any.
So if there is no question, I'd like to continue. I also have few more things to say, so I might
Yes, ma'am.
as well go ahead and say. Yeah, this has been my entire endeavor with my course is that the young students that come, they are undergraduate students, 18-year-olds. What I have been trying to do is make them aware of the folk knowledge around them. And what is why I do try to do is that through it I want them to understand that common people are also have you know a set of knowledge, and it is as valid and as respectable as scientific knowledge. So I was trying to do is try to make them understand the entire country through the folk art, okay, and to see that common people's knowledge is also valid in certain sense. Okay, this was my entire endeavor. And yeah, so and it's also my teaching a course of this nature in a science institute. It's also been my endeavor that the science and society should have certain kind of interaction between them. They should talk between them, because we see science and people practicing science, the scientists, as something removed from the society, as if they are not from the society and they'll be doing their research in sitting in the lab. But this is not the reality. If you are wanting to have good leadership, because there's no other form of knowledge in the present scenario which gives so much deep impact in the society than science. Okay, you're discovering a nuclear weapon, you actually impacting the society in certain way. So science and technology has a deep and a very immediate impact on the society. And for the science people who are practicing science and technology should have a deeper understanding of the society. So this has been my endeavor, that to make ground the scientist, the budding scientist, into to the society. So the entire practice of doing this mapping India folk with the folk art course has been this, to ground the people, the budding scientists, into the society, to make them understand and in some way appreciate the knowledge of the common people. Okay, we can take some questions if you have.
Ma'am, a certain question just arose in my mind. Ma'am, do you think there is a kind of influence of Indian heritage and folklore in the westernized world as well? How much of like
Um, okay, I haven't thought about it. Maybe, yeah, there's this globalization where you see that, there is a lot of, we call it interchange, but I don't think there's interchange happening there. There is the dominant society are being, even more dominating the, weaker societies in the name of globalization. So yeah, maybe with the, newer generations, upcoming generation, we'll see a lot of influence of the Indian culture on Western world also. I am quite, hopeful about it.
ma'am, like we have seen people wearing saris and like in the westernized world also. So they're having a kind of
Yeah.
influence.
Those are very trivial kind of examples, I would say, but those don't have larger impact. Is it
Yes,
actually
ma'am.
having an impact on the handloom industry of India? I don't think so. So I would call them trivial. It's not as large scale to have a long term impact. Yeah. So we need to be more conscious about all these things.
Yes, ma'am. And we should be aware that like the Western domination doesn't like let go. We shouldn't let go our culture being
Yeah.
dominated by the westernized world as well. So,
Right. That's what I have been saying, that our education system also has have certain gap. We don't give enough importance to our own culture. So there is a child who grow up being confused. They have seen certain kind of practices and kind of values in their houses or in the society around them, but they're not studying that in school. So there's a gap that whatever said and done, the education system is Western education that we're studying, and we don't have enough space for the traditional knowledge, to be discussed in a school or in the education space. So there's this gap. I feel that there's the cultural and social essence is not discussed enough in our education. The second gap is probably there's no discipline, exchange. The disciplines are very watertight. A science student will only be doing science, art student will only be doing art. Why don't these two students talk and take a
yes,
bring out something novel? So this is another gap I feel. And third gap I feel is that our education system is not skill based. Okay, we try to see everyone as with the same lenses. Everyone has certain plus strength in them. Everyone has certain strength in them. We should recognize them and hone them. These are three sets of gaps that I feel we have in our education system.
ma'am. Do you have any comments on the influence of myths on today's culture?
Uh, yeah, meat. I think it does have mostly in the political narrative that we see. During the political campaign, we see a lot of narratives, a lot of background that there has been a golden past and something happened in between and we are in this deplorable state. So there is this lot of contemporary myth making that there has been a golden past and we have lost it and we need to revive it. So I would call that also a myth, that we are talking about something that we have probably don't have documents about, but we think it is true. So it's contemporary myth making when you're talking about this kind of issues. Also, in this popular, so in the scholars of folklore believe that all the Indian movies have certain elements of either the Mahabharata or Ramayana or certain local, legends or epics. So the scholars believe that every movie will have some component of the epics of the Indian culture. And yeah, also when we talk about the Ram Ravan, the victory of the good over the evil, we always, evoke the Ram Ravan trope. Or when we're talking about love, we always, evoke Radha Sham trope. So yeah, we still talk about them. There's the still influence of myth in a society. I think there's one question in the chat box.
Yes, ma'am. We have a question by Rajashri, ma'am.
Uh,
She's
I have a
asking,
question like, can folklore be a tool for communication and it can actually become a medium to aware people about different important issues? So, Rajshri, I've been trying to do this. Why I've been trying to do this is because the folk components are very close to people's heart. If I talk about where I live now, Karnataka, people have a lot of respect for the chitra painting, you know and if you're talking something with using the chitra painting, or if you're talking something using dolu kunita, it easily people usually easily accept it, and people, it's easy understanding, easy acceptance, easy respect. So I think folklore has a lot of potential in communication, and we haven't used it as much. That's what I believe, and that's also what I have been trying to do in my course, also talk about issues using the folk components. Yeah. I
Hello.
think, yeah, I think, the government has been using it now. Recently, I've seen to talk about the health and hygiene, and we,
Yeah. Mhm.
I have seen some people using folk painting to talk about that. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
slowly starting. Yeah.
I had another question like, how is folklore different from myth? Is there a difference between them?
No, there's no difference between them. Myth is also a folklore. I mean, it's a knowledge about a community, and which the community holds, close to their heart. So it is also a part of folklore. Folklore is the general umbrella under which everything will come. The legends, myth, folk tales, dance, songs, everything will come under the umbrella of folklore. That's a discipline, actually. Folkloristics is a discipline where we study all these things under it. Okay, why I have been talking so much about folklore? Folklore is, one is because I have been trained in folklore, and second, it's not only because I have been trained in folklore that I talk so much about folklore, but I feel that we haven't used this tool enough. We have it's a component of our identity. We identify with it, but we haven't used it enough to feel confident about it. Okay, we haven't used it enough. Um we haven't felt been given opportunities to feel proud about it. That's why I have been talking about focus so much, that let's feel proud about what we have. Okay. So another
Okay,
question by
ma'am, there is
Vikram Rao.
another question
Yeah.
from Vikram Rao.
Yeah.
He's asking like,
There
there
seems to
seems
be
to
a,
be
I'll
a,
read it. Yeah,
okay, ma'am.
gap in our society these days. Either there are people who are forgetting our culture and rituals, while there are far right wingers who are pushing culture and religious down our throat. What can be done to balance the situation, both academically and otherwise? Yeah. So I have been thinking about this. Best example is okay, the best example is Ayurveda. Ayurveda has lots of potential. It's part of our folk tradition, it's part of our folk knowledge. But the way it has been packaged, the way it has been trying to push it down our throat, as you have mentioned, would do no good to Ayurveda, or not, not to us. Okay, it will only do harm. It's a set of knowledge, and it has its own validity, it has its own plus point, but we should not be so rushed, or we should not be so foolish in putting them across some putting comparing them with something else. We should not be comparing Ayurveda with Western medicine. That is not right. Okay, Ayurveda has a different way of processing, and allopathy has a different way of processing in our body. So it's not right to juxtapose Ayurveda with Western medicine. That's what my that's what my argument is. And yeah, as you said, that we should be proud about our heritage. We should be proud about our tradition in right way. Not in comparison to others. So we try to compare things and then feel proud, but we should be proud of them independently. That's what my entire proposition is. I hope. Yeah.
I have a question, and
Yes.
I missed a little bit in the beginning part, but
Yeah.
I'm part of the Anazuri team,
Yeah.
and as an Anazuri team, we want, we want the citizen of Assam
Yeah.
uh, to be more active. We want the student. We want to change mindset. you know, like nahoy, nahobo. We wanted to remove all those words from our dictionary. We have to think that we can do it, and we want the students to, or younger generation, to feel the power that they have the right. They have the right to know. Like, you know, you live in Guwahati and there is Brahmaputra river there. Why are we always complaining that we don't have water? Why do we have to buy water? We have a, you know, we have so much of rain coming and all that stuff, but we have those so many problems, and we are backstick. We do not ask question. We don't, you know, we just complain and complain and complain. We expect somebody else to clean our mess. So how do we change it? How do we use this folklore, or, you know, art or whatever? How do we change this mindset that the kids and the younger generation? I lost hope with, you know, older and my generation. So I'm focusing on the younger generation. You know, and
I
how?
didn't.
Tell me,
Yeah,
what do we do?
I didn't get your name. Can I know your name, please?
Yeah, my name is
I
Milind
don't.
Datta.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much for this question. I should give you a example from Bangalore, where I live. There is this organization called Lahe Lahe. I am not sure who the founders are. I am assuming they are from Assam. And Lahe Lahe, has become, so people who don't know what Lahe Lahe means, it means slowly. No, we in Assam we have this tradition of saying we'll do it Lahe Lahe. Okay, it has come to have a negative connotation, but there back in Bangalore, it has a very positive connotation, saying that you don't have to rush, you don't have to jump in things, do things, in its own pace, and it will be done. So, where we see Noho and Nohobo, it can't be done, we can't do it. Uh, in this context, it is negative, but in certain other contexts, it can be positive. That's one thing. But again, to come back to your question, yes, I think we need to remove this, and we need to have a lot of confidence built, among. I was in my own department in Tejpur University last year, and I was presenting, and I found I was very excited to go to my department to give a lecture, and I hardly found any student asking me question, challenging me, or I asked them to challenge me, or you know say something at least. But we have this tradition of keeping quiet, showing on, we feel that the person will take offense if we talk, if we don't comply with them, if we don't question them. This has been a tradition, and I think it has gone a bit too far, and we need to change it. And how do we change it is, yeah, by if you are asking me how do we change it through folklore, is build confidence. I feel we have not, our generation probably have not built so much of confidence in our own cultural identity, that we have uh, that it's been passed on now. No, so we have, what we have to do now is to build confidence. We have to make the folkloric items so visible, make it. So there is this tendency of thinking that folklore, the Bihu songs are not mine. They are from a different time and space. They are probably from a rural area. I'm just giving an example of Bihu song, but we can take any other example. So these are not mine. The Madhubani art is not mine, but these are from the rural area. These are practiced by my grandmothers, and it's not mine. So how do you make this student? How do you make this young person feel connected to this art form? So you have to give them evidence that a Madhubani painting or a Bihu song has a contemporary content to it. It has the vocabulary to talk about your issue, your contemporary issue, and it can, have a dialogue with you. We need to show that, we need to show that, demonstrate that. So this is what I feel. We need to show that it has a contemporary, content to it. It can, talk to you in a very confident manner. So this is how I think we can, by building confidence in our own culture, by making it more visible, I think we can slowly, bit by bit, remove this
It
non-confidence
was
that we have.
interesting, and that you mentioned Lahe Lahe, because I was having this talk today morning itself, and I was saying that when I was in Bangalore, I found out there's a coffee shop called Lahe Lahe. I went all the way to find a
Yeah.
store and found there's nothing Assamese about that. None of them can speak Assamese. There's no Assamese food, nothing. So
Yeah.
finally, I got so frustrated, and I called the owner. Her name was Sharma, so I thought that she is an Assamese, but she's not. She was a Marwari Assamese, who born and raised in Assam, and she had
Yeah.
told that she doesn't know anything about Assamese. And I was so pissed off, and I did give her piece of my mind, because I think that was very misuse of our culture and our language,
No, I
using it,
don't. I
but
don't
not
see
having
it.
any.
Yeah.
She's from Assam. She's from Assam. She's born and raised in Assam. And that's why
Okay.
she used the word as lahe lahe, but she says that she doesn't know anything. She doesn't know Assamese. Then I think it's a
So
misuse. All
I
right.
think it is
So,
very, it's a very beautiful concept, I feel, where you come, you relax, you don't have to rush, take it easy. I think, again, I was just giving you an, different example. Like, yeah.
but it may be, but it
See,
was in Bangalore. It was in
yeah.
Bangalore, and the coffee shop is called Lahe Lahe. You can look it
Uh,
up. It's called Lahe Lahe. So I thought
okay.
that okay, Lahe Lahe, I mean, they must be having some Assamese food. So I went there to have the Assamese food.
Uh,
Just I was so happy about that. But
okay.
anyway, really nice listening to you. And I was also was asked this because it's your resume, your flyer says that you work in communication, right? So
Yeah. I have
uh,
recently joined that department. I have been a UG instructor for the past 5 years. So last year
okay.
I joined as the senior editor at Office of Communication. Yeah.
So, we were trying to, as our organization, we are trying to reach out. We are trying to reach out to more and more young youth. We are inviting these young leaders from Assam so that they can share their stories in this platform, and it may motivate somebody somewhere, the younger generation. But we have to do the communication, how we reach out to more people. And that's why I was trying to get ideas or advice from you, that what kind of communication should we use to reach out to more to the masses.
Yeah, I think you should bring about, topics that are pertaining, and they are concerned about, I think people like to hear what they are actually thinking, So I think if you bring out issues, if you talk about the matters that matter, uh, that would attract people. That's what I believe. So there's one
Thank you.
comment. Yeah, there's one comment. Please also see the work done by a group of volunteers like Ugly India, who are doing a lot of work for urban society by themselves, self-motivated. Yeah, Ugly Indian is you know, uh, they don't take any credit for it, but they just go about doing their work. Yeah. There are sets of people. Some are motivated, some are not, and some are in the, sitting on the, fence. So we need to motivate this fence sitter and also the one who are not motivated. Is there any question?
Any more questions from the viewers? Okay, so we can come to the end, I guess.
Yes.
So with this, we have finally come to the end of this extremely enlightening session. So I would like to wrap up today's segment by giving a special vote of thanks to the speaker, Ma'am Dr. Basista Das. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving us your valuable time, despite having a busy schedule and letting us know different aspects of today's topic. Also, I would like to thank all our viewers for their comments, for their questions, and for being with us and making the session a truly fruitful one. We definitely look forward to your presence in our further segments as well. So till then, take care, stay safe, stay home. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Parin. Thank you. See you again. Bye.
Bye, ma'am.